Hi, I'm Laura Miolla from Moxie Life Coach. As a divorce coach and mediator, I help you save big money in divorce while also providing you with the emotional, legal, and financial support you need to make decisions you're proud of. So in this week's episode of What You Don't Know About Divorce Will Cost You, I'm getting practical. I'm going to talk about the very practical dilemma of what do I do with my wedding rings and my wedding dress after divorce. I actually struggled with this myself in my divorce, and it actually took me, probably a couple years to actually find solutions that I felt good about. But I did do some exploration, and certainly in my divorce coaching practice, I talked to my clients about, what their choices are, what they're choosing to do with these symbols of their weddings and their marriage. And I guess that's one of the reasons why it took me so long to do something about these, and certainly other women, because I think these are really symbols of our marriage. And regardless of the good or the bad, they still represent what we had hoped the marriage would have been. And I've said it before, every single one of my clients goes through a grieving period. And when I ask them specifically about what they're grieving, it's never about what the marriage really was, the reality of the situation. It was always what they had hoped it had been, what they thought it should have been. And so a big part of this process is letting go of these ideas that actually ended up sabotaging our real marriage in a lot of ways. They gave us very impossible standards that we were constantly measuring our marriage against, and it's hard to live up to that in reality, number one, and also it's hard to accept the reality, when we want it to be so different. So back to these symbols, certainly our wedding dresses, our wedding rings are major symbols in our society of our marriages. And for me personally, I wanted to honor my marriage. I wanted to honor what good came out of it. I wanted to honor the fact that I have two wonderful sons from this marriage, that, it wasn't all bad. It just didn't fit who I wanted to be now in my life. And so I really struggled with, what do I do with these things? And what I ended up doing is, certainly there are lots of options for what to do with your wedding dress. I'm hoping that you realize that it is just a thing and that you carry that symbol in your heart. You don't need to carry it with you in your life. Or at least that's the conclusion I came to. So in the end, I wanted to donate my dress, my veil, all of those things. And I donated mine to Brides Against Breast Cancer, because obviously I really believe in helping women, and if I can help them through part of my experience, even better. There's also a great organization called Brides Across America, which is focused on helping military families. So consider donating your dress. I know I've watched A Girlfriend's Guide to Divorce, and she has a big party and they paintball the dress. That's I don't know. That just doesn't strike me as something I would ever choose. I don't choose to be angry like that. But I guess it's a choice. So when it comes to your wedding rings, I had a really interesting experience. And I talked to lots of people, and certainly I had suggestions around, taking my engagement ring and turning it into a different kind of jewelry that I could wear. Okay, maybe. Other people just keep it in a box somewhere, or they intend to have it be a part of their legacy to their family. I didn't feel that was appropriate for my sons. I want them to be able to choose for themselves rather than be forced to use something from my past. And so I decided I sold my rings. Again, the symbol of what that is in my heart still. I didn't need to carry the thing. And I actually had a great experience when it came to selling my rings. I actually came across a local jeweler north of Boston, Elise Jewelers, which is owned by Richard Barbarian. And his family has a long tradition working in that business. And his business actually provides all of the jewels for the Miss America pageants. So he was a great guy to get to know and to talk to. And what I learned was very fascinating. So basically, I'd had my certificate that said, what, color and all this stuff was for my diamond and what it was valued at from when it was originally purchased. So of course you have some hope that, it's worth this amount of money, I'm going to get that or more. That's not how it works. Actually your diamond is probably have depreciated in a lot of ways, number one. And number two, as he looks at my diamond and he actually compares it, it actually wasn't classified correctly when it was originally purchased. So I learned a lot from him. He's actually a certified gemologist. And come to find out that anybody with enough capital can actually open a store, get some inventory in terms of jewelry, and start saying they're a jeweler. There is no standards, no certifications, nothing you need to actually say, okay, this is what this diamond is, this is what it's worth. And they write it on a piece of paper and they give it to you and you think that that's true. So as a certified gemologist, he actually has to abide by codes and standards for his industry so that there is some certification and credentials behind how he classifies a stone. So apparently, when people go out and buy engagement rings, wedding rings, if you don't buy it from a certified gemologist, you cannot guarantee that what is written on your valuation is actually what it is. So I was fascinated by that, and certainly that happened to me, but he's a good guy and he gave me a good deal. So that was really important to know, that again, you have to question, all of those things. You have to question, just because it's on a piece of paper doesn't mean it's true. And just because they say they're an expert doesn't necessarily mean they're true. I mean, I know that as a coach, there are millions of people who say they're coaches, but they haven't actually been certified and trained in the way that I have and other people in my industry. So I tend to think that there's a difference there in terms of our ability to bring knowledge and tools and skills to the table. And same thing here. So go ahead and look at what's out there. The one thing I did do, which was interesting, is there is now an online market for diamonds, engagement rings, wedding rings. And I did go through worthy.com, and I found out that even if they give you a good deal in the auction, they take a 20% cut. I would have had less than half of what I sold my ring to Richard Barbarian for. So try to make some good deals. And remember that these are only symbols. We don't have to carry the stain in our heart. We just need to honor what was good in our heart. And we don't need to carry these things around. Not unless you choose to. And if you don't, there are lots of options available to you. So I hope you find that useful. It's certainly a journey post-divorce. And I'll be talking a lot about that as well in the future. So please use the resources on my website, become a Moxie member, or schedule a free consultation with me. I'm happy to talk to anyone, discuss your situation, and explore your fit for coaching in a free, confidential manner, no strings attached. And so until next week, speak your truth, even when your voice shakes.